Christmas is a great time to make fudge, but I don't know much about how to make fudge, and the fact is we've been receiving a lot of email from home cooking subscribers asking us questions about how to keep the fudge from getting grainy and so forth. And so we've invited Melanie Zimmerman here again because the carrot chowder recipe was such a hit, and you have a great fudge recipe that you'd like to share with us. Why don't you tell us how to make it?
It's fabulous. Before we start cooking, take the chocolate, 2 large Hershey bars, and your marshmallow cream. It's 10 ounces of marshmallow cream. And Dan, why don't you put that in, and I'll get going on the cooking.
Okay.
We'll add our 1 can of evaporated milk. If you put the liquid in first, that kind of helps prevent crystals. And
so you put the liquid part in?
Put the liquid in first. It helps prevent any sugar crystals from getting
Do I do anything else here, I guess?
Nope,
okay.
you're ready to go.
Why do you do this ahead of time then?
Once your candy, or once your fondant gets to the softball stage, it's ready to go.
So you don't want to waste any time.
No, you don't want to waste any time.
Okay.
Once it starts to boil, we'll just add our butter. And we can stir this as much as necessary. We don't want it to scorch.
So you want to keep stirring the whole time, is that right?
You can, yes, keep stirring. Well, you can stop for a minute or two. Now, if you're not using the Hershey chocolate, and Dan's going to include this other recipe in the newsletter, to prevent crystals from forming, and this is the problem that most people have when they're...
The emails that have been sent to us, this is mostly what they're...
Right. When fudge starts going to sugar, it's because there's little crystals that build up. So if you'll take a pastry brush, dip it in some water, and just kind of wash down the sides, then you'll prevent any crystals from forming, and your fudge won't go to sugar. Now this will cook for about 5 minutes to the softball stage, and that's about 220 degrees on your candy thermometer.
Oh, okay.
All right, now this is cooked down. You can see how thick it's getting, and we're ready to check again. We have checked a couple of times to see if it's reached the softball stage.
I know this is a part that a lot of people get, this is the confusing part.
It is. If you start with a clean glass and clean spoon, now you can see how that's thickening up. See how it kind of forms a ball?
Yeah.
When you touch it, it's kind of soft, but it's the soft ball stage. It will kind of clump into a ball.
Well, I think that until now it's just been kind of going into the water.
That's right. It's been dissolving.
Right,
so we're ready. We're ready to turn our heat off.
Okay.
If you're going to use the thermometer, put it over the side of the pan. Just be sure that the bottom doesn't touch the bottom of the pan, because that'll give you a false reading.
Oh, I see.
You want to be sure it's in the liquid.
Just hovering. Okay.
Right. Okay, now we're ready to pour this in. And
you want me to do that?
Yeah,
okay.
Do you want to pour?
Sure.
And I'll stir for a bit.
Okay.
Just dump it in.
Okay.
We don't need to get all of it. When you start scraping the pan, it's easy that you might form a crystal. So let's do the best we can, and then we'll just start to stir.
Now, does just one crystal make the whole thing crystal?
One crystal.
Oh, really?
It's a chain reaction.
Oh, okay.
After you've added the fondant to the cream and the chocolate, you add the vanilla. Now, Dan, why don't you stir that so you get a feel of what it's like. Try to scrape around the edges. Let's see, we had a spatula.
So you keep stirring the whole time?
Yeah, you just stir.
And what does this do? It's melting the chocolate, I see.
It's melting the chocolate, and it's also, when you make regular fudge, let's scrape the sides, because we want to get all that yummy fondant mixed in.
Okay.
Now, depending on how thick you want your fudge, you put it in a 9 by 13 pan. You can put it in a huge cookie sheet.
Okay.
You see how that's thickening?
Yeah.
And it's starting to get that a little bit less glossy.
I see that.
And you can see by the way it's sticking to the sides of the pan that it's starting to set up. You can see how nice and creamy that is. If you want to set it up fast, you can stick it in the fridge. If it doesn't matter, then just pour it in and wait for it to
So
set.
here, let's turn it this way so we can see.
Oh, sure.
So at this point,
See how yummy and creamy that
that
is?
does look good.
Spread that around to give it that fudgy look. And it does take a minute for it to set up, or a few minutes. But you've got fudge that your neighbors will absolutely rave about.
Well, thank you, Melanie. It looks delicious.
Oh, you're welcome, and I'm happy to make it, and I hope lots of people try it for this Christmas.
Thank you. Happy holidays, and we'll see you again next month.
You like that?
That's good.
Creamy.
That's really good.